Actually have an awesome comment. This comment comes from a longtime subscriber named Archangel Lucifer. Now he has his own YouTube channel, which I'll link to in the description. And because he named himself after the Prince of Darkness, I'm going to be reading his comment using demonic reverb. Here we go.
All social interactions are an exchange in their basis. Every time when two organisms of any species come together, they exchange something. In our case, when men come together, they exchange strength, alliance against a threat, resources, trading, ideas, discourses, etc. Now, it is an implied social convention that when someone gives you something you need, that you give something back to that person. This exchange forms a relationship. When men and women come together, men give women protection and resources in exchange for sex and paternity. It is implied that those two are of equal value, or at the very least, that each side thinks they got the better end of the deal. But as we know, the value of X is a function of utility and scarcity. And here is the answer to the question above. Men keep giving in to women because their utility and scarcity is in a state of decline. Technology makes male strength obsolete and redundant, lessening their intrinsic utility, and their physical abundance subtracts further from their value. They need to give more and more in order to get less and less to account for the differences in value. And here's another kicker. In order to form a relationship between a man and a woman, there has to be an exchange in utility between them. A man gives the woman, say, his protection and resources, and the woman gives him sex and paternity. But the truth is she also gets protection and resources from the community and/or state, which is also comprised of men, other men. To whom does she give sex and paternity? To whom should she be faithful? Which sources of resources are more important? The man she's currently with or other men? And this is where traditionalist women and feminist women come into play, based on how they've resolved this conundrum. One batch favors individual men, the other favors men of the community. It's essentially two sides of the same coin. The results seem similar, so it's just a matter of arbitrage, more or less.
Unquote. Now this comment was in regards to my last video, The System of Passive Gynocentrism, in which I asked the question, why do men put up with this stuff? Why do they keep giving in to women when they have the power to stop at any time? And I really thank Archangel Lucifer for answering this question. I really like his answer. I think it really ties everything together. Now, I've made a video a long time ago about male scarcity, and I also understand how both feminism and even MGTOW can be explained through economic lenses. However, everything works like the pendulum on a grandfather clock, or the cycles that I keep talking about. Men build these civilizations, which create protection and increase technology, making our lives easier. This is desirable to everyone. However, because women are hypergamous, they take advantage of this safety and of this abundance, and they basically betray men. Now, over time, men in turn walk away. This is again a function of supply and demand. As women demand more and more, they raise their price through feminism. Eventually that price becomes too high, and men walk away. Just like you would see in any other good or service. There's this old Calvin and Hobbes comic strip I'm reminded of, where Calvin started a lemonade stand. And one cup of lemonade he wanted $1 million for. And then of course Susie tells him he's crazy, and he just gets all mad because he just needs to sell one cup of lemonade for $1 million. But of course no one's going to buy a cup of lemonade for $1 million. So he doesn't sell anything. And it's the same thing with women. Feminism keeps raising the price of women. Now, MGTOW are starting to walk away, but think about how relatively recent MGTOW is. It really started about 10 years after third wave feminism began. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. You now have yes means yes, and it's going to keep getting worse. Feminists are going to keep pushing the envelope, and men are going to keep giving them what they want, and the price of women is going to keep going up. And more men are going to realize that that price is too high. As their rights are stripped away, all this other stuff, they're just going to realize, fuck it, this isn't worth it, and they're going to walk away. Now, I don't know whether they're going to officially join MGTOW, start using the label or whatever, or they'll just walk away. It doesn't matter. I mean, the herbivore movement in Japan doesn't require an organized group. There isn't like a YouTube group of herbivore men in Japan. They just decided to all do this together. So I think that's what's going to happen eventually on its own. It's a function of economics. Women are already getting their needs met through the government, through the welfare state, and they're getting everything thrown at them, all kinds of money thrown at them. There's no demand they can make that's too crazy to not be given to them. I mean, just think about yes means yes. That whole concept flies in the face of the foundation of justice, which is innocent until proven guilty. But because women weren't convicting enough rapists or men they accused of rape, now they need to flip it and make it guilty until proven innocent, where the man has to prove he didn't rape her or prove he did have consent, which is impossible for him to prove. So now more men can be convicted of rape, whether or not they actually committed rape or not. And then they go beyond that by redefining rape. It's not just, holding a knife to a girl's throat and forcing her to have sex with you. Now it's just sex you regret the next day, or sex you had while drunk. You have men like Bill Cosby, who, back in the 80s, everyone was doing drugs and having sex. It was the 80s. Now that he's older but still has money, all these washed up whores are like, hey, I remember back in the 80s, I did drugs and had sex with Bill Cosby. And because they've redefined rape, any sex you have where you're not in your right mind because you're on drugs or something like that, that's automatically rape, whether or not you initiate it or not. Now Bill Cosby's a rapist, and his career is being destroyed. This is only going to get worse. And the thing is, I feel bad for the men trying to negotiate in this environment because you don't know what's going to happen next. Imagine if they redefine rape again to make it even more strict, more anti-male. You may be watching everything now. You may be crossing your T's, dotting your I's, making sure you protect yourself, but they could redefine rape next week. And then all these girls you had sex with, a couple months ago that you never called back or gave a fake number, now you're guilty of rape because you lied to them or something. You dumped them. You broke a promise to them. I have no idea. It seems like nothing is too crazy for the government to not throw their weight behind, though. So what do you do? Well, eventually, men are going to have to wake up. I'm not saying they have to join MGTOW and subscribe to MGTOW and all that stuff like that, but they need to start scooping their balls off the ground, and they realize that this is going to fuck everything up. This isn't just against men, because when you screw over men, you screw over society. There's a reason why you have all these single mothers. So if men are refusing to get married, what do you do next? Well, you could trick men to get women pregnant, but then how are you going to support all these single moms? Well, the man doesn't have enough money, and maybe after one or two, he's broke. He's going to be living out of his car. So now what? You'd have to trick every man into supporting a single mom. And they try to do that with the welfare state, but it has consequences too. It's all going bankrupt. There isn't enough money. When you tax someone too much, they just quit. They figure it's not worth it. Why am I going to work busting my ass when all my money is taken by the state? Fuck it, I'll just quit my job and go play video games, or I'll live out of my car. I'm going to be doing that anyway. It's not an infinite abyss of money. You can't just keep taking from men and expect it to never run out. People change their behavior based on things like taxes, incentives, and so forth. And you're just starting to see the beginning of it. All the money we're throwing at women in colleges, all the money we're throwing at single moms. There are consequences to that. There are economic consequences. There are societal consequences. And I caught a lot of shit for my last video about passive gynocentrism. You really have to think about this. Now, I know a lot of people are very patriotic, very pro-Western civilization. I see that, and I agree that Western civilization gave us great things like the concept of free speech. But Western civilization has also ran a stake through that. If you offend someone, you could be banned, you could be prosecuted. Thank God that guy in Canada wasn't convicted of harassment for disagreeing with a feminist. Can you imagine if he was actually found guilty? That would have been the end of free speech. And that was in Canada. That's part of the West. Free speech it's on its last legs. Even on YouTube, you have channels like I Hate Everything that had his channel deleted for no reason. I understand why men initially support gynocentrism. And it's a mating strategy. It's like when a man sees an attractive woman, a very attractive woman, he wants to be nice to her. And that's because there's a perception that she is either on his level or higher, like she's a really attractive woman and he's like an okay average guy. When you see a woman that's higher than you with their sexual marketplace value, the instinctual guttural reaction is to be kind to her, to try to win her favor. That's just an instinct. It's a mating strategy, whether it's conscious or not. You could be happily married, you could have a girlfriend, you could be asexual, you could be gay. You will still subconsciously desire to be kind to a very attractive woman. This is the real question. Beyond the initial contact, the man meets the woman, he's very attracted to her, he wants to be kind to her, he wants to do things for her. I get that part. But over time, you get wise to, hey, this bitch is crazy. I need to get the fuck out of here. Why do we still promote and protect and support feminism when it's gotten this out of control and it's only getting worse? I don't know when the actual turning point is, but it hasn't happened yet. I mean, I don't know, when men start going to jail over yes means yes, over regret rape, will that be the sign? Will that be the time when guys are like, well, this is bullshit, we need to do something? I don't know what it'll be. Will it be a bachelor tax? Will it be when the government actually forces men to adopt a single mother? Where they just assign you a single mother, like, we're going to take part of your income and give it to this woman who had kids that she couldn't afford? And, you know, this is a side rant. It always pisses me off when men who can't afford their children because they lost their job or something are called deadbeat dads. But when a woman can't afford her children she chose to have, she has every opportunity not to have children. She can have an abortion, she can give them up for adoption, she can drop them off at the fire station, she can do any number of things to not have children. If she's a single mom, she's single mom by choice. But if she's poor and she can't afford to raise her kids, they just give her free money. A free place to stay through Section 8 housing, free cell phones, free broadband internet, free money for utilities, free food. Like, the government plays husband. But if the man falls on hard times, he's just a piece of shit. He's a deadbeat dad. He needs to go to jail for being poor, for not having any money. He will go to jail for being unemployed and not paying his child support, while the woman gets showered with money for being poor. The question I always come back to is, why do men put up with it? Why aren't men, everything, all of this, men built society, men maintain society, men pay for the society. Everything you see and touch and feel and interact with was built, maintained, and paid for by men. Men are the bedrock, the foundation of any society. I understand part of it is a mating strategy. You want to be kind to women because you're hoping to get your dick wet. I get that. But if you're not interested in sex, or if you're happily in a relationship or something like that, why do you continue to put up with women's shit that you're not interested in having sex with? Like, why do you put up with these old lesbian feminist shit? You're not having sex with them. You don't want to have sex with them. Why are you putting up with their shit? So I know I touched on a lot of different concepts in this video. Again, I want to thank Archangel Lucifer for his contribution in the comment section. And this is actually one of the reasons I really enjoy going into my comment section, interacting with people, because I learn things. You know, I don't put myself out as I'm the expert, I know everything, because I don't. I'm on this journey with you. So if you follow my channel for a long time, you see that my views have evolved over time. I'm always trying to learn new things. So I appreciate you joining me on this little journey of mine. And I hope you find these videos entertaining and informative. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.